can build a progressive alternative. We can unite Victorians. Thank you for coming. Let's have a great debate. To me, the issue is homelessness. I was educated by Al Rycroft, who told me that it costs $55,000 a year to have people being homeless. Security costs for law enforcement, for hospitalization, and the like. It's cheaper to treat people at the cause and find homes for them than it is to keep our status quo. You know, there were 30 people who died in the streets between June and October. There are 1,200 people, he tells me, who are homeless in this community. And from my way of thinking, what Libby Davis has done has got to be implemented. We need a national homelessness strategy immediately in this province, and in this city in particular. It's tragic. It's time to fix the problem. I think it has to do with the concentration of the production of food. I was staggered, were you, to learn that 1/3 of all beef came from that XL in Brooks, Alberta? I was staggered by that. You know, and the federal government's food inspection system, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, which does these spot audits and sometimes looks at the pieces of paper that are given rather than coming into the plant floor as they should. The NDP has called for 200 more food inspectors. That was before this occurred. I think they very sparingly called for the resignation of ministers, but certainly Mr. Ritz needs to go. As Charlie said, we used to have the majority of our food produced right here on Vancouver Island. We don't anymore. It's a very tiny minority. We've got to find ways to incent farmers to go in there and get involved to make a livable wage so we can have food again here. That's the way to deal with food security. Decentralize the system and get back to where we were. And let's not forget about food quality. Let's not forget about imported foods that may not be labeled adequately. Let's not forget about genetically modified foods that aren't labeled at all. When I was growing up, I depended on student loans. It made it possible for me to continue my education. And now I hear students tell me that they can't afford to do it. That is a scandal in our country. We really need to look after the infrastructure of the future, the human resource base of the future, which are our young. I find it unbelievable that federal government, as Elizabeth said, is downloading. The Canada Social Transfer does not have enough money in it for post-secondary education. We're not investing enough in the Red Seal program. We're not doing enough to create the infrastructure for the new economy that these students need to work in if we're going to survive as a society. We have a crisis on Aboriginal communities in this country with a growing population. We need to find opportunities for them. I believe in self-government. I believe we need to find new partnerships. The New Democratic Party has talked about $1 billion a year in educational work and the desperate need, obviously, for infrastructure work in our First Nation communities. I think it's just critical we find ways to integrate them in better education, mentorships in the communities if they wish to come to Victoria and Vancouver, but to find work in their own communities on their own terms under new arrangements is what treaty making is all about. I'm totally committed to that agenda.